Matt, I'm have you on for a couple reasons. We're gonna talk now about the business of college football and how it's changed and what goes on with the upcoming transfer portal dates. And take us through this process. What's it like for you now? You cover all this stuff for us. You're there covering recruiting, but also roster retention and potential portal targets. Like, what is the staff doing right now besides trying to figure out who's going to be on it and who isn't?
Yeah, I think evaluating is the big one, right? I mean, look, they're technically not allowed to talk to these kids that are planning to intend to enter the portal until they are actually in, right? But what they can do, I mean, look, man, we're all on Twitter. They're not stupid. They can go see who's actually coming in the portal. On3 even has a new thing where it has the expected tag, so you can see who's expected to enter before. So you can start evaluating and start making your board of who you want, of when this January 2nd opens. You can go and talk to the kid and get him on campus as soon as possible. Like, you can make that a goal. Now, also, let's be honest, it doesn't stop anyone from talking to their agent. Their agent isn't the kid. You can talk to him. But that's that kind of thing that's kind of taboo. No one likes to talk about, and like they won't really tell you about. But it's everyone knows that's happening, right? Like it's not. Like we know how this college football thing has worked now. Like we saw how Carson's Beck deal worked out last year. Like it's pretty obvious what goes on behind the scenes. So that you can kind of get a head jump on it, and you should be getting a head jump on it. And what kind of hurts at Florida State at this point is if you're making front office changes, you're going to have this previous front office have their fingerprints all over everything before the new one comes in. So like if you personally, if you're a Florida State fan, and I think everyone is saying this, is you want those front office changes to get done as soon as possible. Or whatever they're doing, right? Because you're just bleeding into this portal cycle more and more as you wait. That's just a general and an obvious thing in my opinion, just because you want these new people to evaluate, you want these new set of eyes on it and new opinions to enter the room so they can have an effect on this next roster. We just don't know how fast it's happening.
So I would argue, Matt, that there's no chance that the changes they make in the front office, and I know people disagree. There are some people who disagree with me on this. I don't think that whatever changes you're making currently, which long-term may be the best decision for Florida State, may be the best path to take. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is that these guys can't have an impact, can't have really a lot in terms of their handprints on this upcoming portal class because of what you just alluded to. Most of this these days, and this is where if you're the average Joe who has a regular job and you're not paying attention every second of every day to the shifting sands of college football, you may not know this, and I don't blame you. You've got a day job. But we're in this. And so we both know, and I talk to agents all the time, and I know you do too. These agents – who are we kidding? You just said it. They're making plans for their clients, these players, long before now. I mean, this has already started. This process has begun. These conversations, whether it's on the up and up or not, these kids are being steered to programs already. They've identified those that are willing to pay, those that have a need, those that might be a fit for their client. If you don't even have the guy in who's going to be your next quote unquote GM or talent evaluator or whatever you want to consider it to be, what relationship could they build at this last second in the witching hour that is going to flip a kid? Like, it would have already have had to happen, right?
Yeah, I agree with on that. Like, I think we agree with you on that because it's hard to, and then it makes you think like, are you going to the GM style of an NFL guy who it's not relationships? Like, this guy is just going to be behind the scenes, offering the money and evaluating the talent. Like, he's not going to talk to the kids at all. Like, he's going to be like that shadow on Deal or No Deal that just gives you the numbers at the end before you decide, right? So, like, I guess maybe that's the direction you're going in if that's what you're doing, right? Maybe maybe you're demoting a Derek Ray to a different role and so he can keep those relationships because he's already built all those going into this. Who knows? This is something we're all waiting to happen. But yeah, it is tough. The way the timeline has worked out is very weird. But then also in this time, it's a good, you also, like we said, evaluating talent and, trying to get that board ready. But you could also go into, you're retaining your players right now. In my opinion, you probably should get that done first before you look. But you're going to have to, the way the world of college football works, you have to multitask and do it all at once.
So you alluded to it a moment ago. We've seen this week how it's played out with players from Florida State announcing their intentions to go into the portal. We already saw where Tylen Coleman was the latest. He intends to enter the transfer portal. That was according to On3's Pete Nakos. You go back to the earlier stories in the week. You referenced Mario Nash, who was a 4-star prospect originally committed to former FSU offensive line coach Alex Atkins, as you said, is a guy that, he's decided to leave. There are other players. How many do we expect? Do we know? Are you getting an inkling? Are you hearing reports behind the scenes? Is there, I know you can't say I know for a fact this kid is leaving necessarily, but how many more names can we expect? Were there any surprises so far?
Yeah, I wouldn't call anything surprises right now because nothing's really a huge loss to this point. Hey, by the way, you're forgetting Douglas, the tight end, that everyone, a huge loss. I don't know how you're going to forget that era here at Florida State, but nothing, no surprises right now. And I think Florida State's actually done a good job in the past of the guys who leave are leaving for a reason. It's nothing you don't see them lose their top productive guys in the portal unless it's an agreed upon mutual thing, right? I think that's what we've seen in the past. The biggest loss, looking to last year, was probably Malik Benson, maybe. That's the only one you look at who had a super productive year. Marvin Jones had a better year at Oklahoma, but nothing eye-popping. But that was one that I think was better for both parties to split. But it's like I said, it works out. But as of now, no surprises. Nothing that would surprise me or nothing that would surprise anybody at this point, I believe. A Tylen Coleman is a guy who, I talked to him a little bit when he decided he was entering the portal. Good kid. I just think it was a path to the field issue, right? He probably wasn't going to get the reps at Florida State that he thought originally. And that happens. And obviously we didn't see him on the field. I think he played 3 games, so he got a red shirt, so it works out for him. And, Jesse Harold or LA Jesse Harold won that again. There's a lot of people in front of him. There were other freshmen getting playing time at that position. Why wasn't he?
I want to stop you really quick because that's a kid that a lot of people got excited about when Florida State got him.
Yeah.
Well, Jesse Harold was one that we all thought could play, or at least the buzz around him was that he could play, and it was an exciting get. Did that turn out just to be a poor evaluation?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. It was also one of those at the end where you needed to get guys in, because you didn't really have as many edge rushers, I think. And you saw that this year when it comes to this class, as Norvell even said in his press conference Friday, we're throwing numbers at the problem. And that's why they're getting so many defensive linemen. They have a lot of defensive linemen. And at one point in the 2026 class, they had no edge rushers when the season started against Alabama, and now they have 5. So it's when you're going to go with the strategy of throwing numbers at the problem, you're going to some of these guys are going to leave, right? They're not going to hit.
Fair enough. Do we know as we move forward when that portal, now we're ways out, well, not a ways out. I mean, it's December the 10th as we're talking right now, but obviously they've got to go get some starting offensive linemen. Do we think that they are comfortable with a couple, 2 to 3 guys that they believe they can elevate already on this roster? And Andre Otto comes to mind, certainly. Sandman comes to mind. There's some guys that they like. How many offensive linemen do you think they'll go after as viable starters? 3, 4, 5, 2?
Yeah, I think right now you probably look at 3 to 4. You hope it's 3 because, you hope a guy like Otto and Sandman can plug and play right there. But now Sandman's going to be a redshirt freshman. You can't put all your eggs in that basket, right? But then this is where we need to see these staff changes because if say Gus retires and doesn't stay, then Herb Hand probably stays. But say Gus just leaves. Well, Herb Hand has followed Gus to almost every job. So why wouldn't Herb follow him again? And then we're at square one when it comes to offensive linemen. So it's there's a lot of moving factors in it right now, but there are also a lot of good offensive linemen who plan to intend or whatever it is to enter the portal. There's that guy from Arizona State who just entered a couple of days ago. A few from UConn. I forget there was a few others that I've been. Like I said, this is a weird dead time where no one likes to talk as much, and we're waiting for a bunch of stuff. So I end up scrolling Twitter all day and the On3 database, and just waiting for something to happen. It's too cold to go play golf right now, so I just sit here all day.
Well, then we take advantage of your immersion into the world of Twitter and transfer portal candidates. And we have you on the Jeff Cameron Show, which I'll do it again next hour to talk to you about Jaden O'Neal, who we don't worry about where he's going. He's going to Florida State. He's a quarterback, and I want to talk to you about him next hour. Be well, sir. Talk to you shortly.